Hello everybody, welcome to episode 11 of the Farscape Rewatch podcast. Hello. I'm your host, Grant Wahats, and joining me as usual is Red Nightmare.
That wasn't my fault.
It's all okay. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the episode Till the Blood Runs Clear. And with this episode, actually, it's episode 11, so we're now halfway through season 1.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting there. It's gone by so fast.
How time flies when you're having fun reviewing Farscape.
Yes, I believe that is how the saying goes.
Yes.
So yeah, this is an episode it's fairly straightforward, but there's some good bits and pieces in it. And it actually, I quite like that it brings up some previous threads that have been may have been a little bit forgotten about the past couple of episodes.
Ties that might have been severed.
But let's kick it off. So where do we start out? We start out with, now this I like, Crichton and Aeryn are testing out Crichton's module. Good old Farscape 1.
Which apparently got a upgrade.
Yeah, they installed some parts from Moya onto it, so now it's an actual proper, fully fledged spaceship.
Oh.
Sort of. I mean, they probably still think it's a load of junk, but it can now fly in space under its own power again. So yeah. But there's some solar flare activity that's going on from the star that they're orbiting. They're orbiting a planet around a star with high solar flare activity.
Yeah, and John wants to take some readings. Because the solar flare was present when he was shot through a wormhole, he thinks those might be connected.
Yeah, because if you remember in the premiere, they say that there's a radiation wave heading towards him as he's doing his gravity slingshot maneuver. Mm-hmm. And so he figures those are the conditions that he needs to recreate to make another wormhole. And he mentions this to Aeryn, who says, wait, so what do you call the maneuver we're doing right now?
A slingshot maneuver.
So yeah, he's not just taking readings, he's actually kind of trying to open up another wormhole.
And the crazy part is, it works.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? It's that straightforward? It's like, okay, solar flare, gravity slingshot, boom, wormhole.
I was going to say, this sounds pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, like, solar flares are not that uncommon.
No,
you can find them, like, anywhere, right?
I mean, predicting them is a bit tricky.
That's probably what it is. But yeah, he actually manages to create a wormhole. And this, bear in mind, this is all before the credits roll. Before the
opening sequence.
Yeah, so there's a wormhole out in space, and they're being pulled in, and Aeryn is trying to get them away and trying to tell John because they've actually made it into a two-seater now, I guess, which it wasn't before. It was just a one-seater module with just John in it. But she's telling Crichton to flip some switches and get them out of there, and he's just transfixed by this wormhole. He's like hypnotized by it.
I think partially because he's like, I can go home.
Yeah, definitely. It does also look like it is just hypnotizing him because he just stares at it like, oh, wormhole.
Oh, hail wormhole.
Oh, glory to the hypno hole. That sounded wrong. But actually, like, they're being pulled in, and if they don't get away, they'll go straight through the wormhole. And I've talked about this before, like, where they put the brakes in. But this is where they put the titles in. He's still just hypnotized and staring at the wormhole, and then boom, opening titles.
Yeah, I also like that Aeryn is pointing out that it's incredibly unstable and would probably tear to pieces. Yeah,
it's not a stable wormhole. But so we come back from the titles, and John does eventually snap out of it and pull them out of there, but he waited way longer than he should have.
It was a real cool sequence where they basically break through the edge of the wormhole, I think.
Yeah.
And like it goes through water?
Yeah, like the visual depiction of the wormhole in this show is kind of like, it's like water going down a plug hole, basically. Yeah. And so they break through the skin of water off to the side that could kind of be an accretion disk. I don't know. It's a little bit of an odd thing.
It's not very clear how that works.
But yeah, they break through that and are ready to head back to Moya. But there is a plasma leak on John's ship. Moya doesn't want to let them aboard because they could isolate it in the hangar, so Moya wouldn't be in any danger, but Moya's baby might be.
And yeah, we play the baby card. It's like, as we see in the last episode, Moya's pregnant. That means she's extra careful with these things.
Yeah, and also to do with the solar flares, because they don't want to hang around for too long in case the solar flares also affect Moya's baby. Although, I tell you what, Zhaan seems to be enjoying them.
Yeah, she...
Really there's no other way of...
I was going to say, there's no other way of wording this. She's orgasmically enjoying them.
Okay, so Yes, she is. Like 100. Like the solar flare happens, and she's turned on by it. Let's say.
Yes.
And actually, we're not just making up a fun. We're not just having fun with that. She actually says at some point when they're describing what exactly is going on, I think to Rigel and Dargo, that it's a Delvian thing. They're sensitive to ionizing radiation, and it's called a photogasm. It's literally called a photogasm. So you're under no illusions about what's going on there.
No, we are not hamming this up. This is actually what happened.
That's actually what it's called. That's what she says. Like, okay, so we're not messing around here then.
Oh. Okay.
But meanwhile, since they can't go back onto Moya, and this I find a bit odd because Crichton and Aeryn can't get back onto Moya because Moya won't let them on with a plasma leak.
Mm-hmm.
And Dargo's just ready to just leave them. To just be like, you know what, screw these guys, we're out. We're not hanging around here.
Abandon it, get out, we're leaving.
Wait, what? You just want to leave both of them?
Kind of rude.
Yeah, but Crichton gets a hold of Rigel and says that he was talking to someone down on the planet who is a mechanic, and we'll go visit them. And Dargo's just like, no, you're not allowed.
I forbid it!
I'm like, wait, how is that your call, mate?
I was gonna say, it's goddamn democracy. I do like that John's like, you can be a real pain in the ass, cut transmission.
Yep. And then Dargo has to ask Zhaan what pain in the ass means.
And Zhaan's like, I think it means something like that he finds someone really annoying.
And
Rigel busts open a thesaurus.
I love that. The Rigel's just
Like, idiots. Nincompoop.
Moron. He just keeps going on with rattling off these other words for idiot. I was like, I love it.
Yeah, I really like that. And I do like that we cut back to the ship, and then John's like to Aeryn, you're with me on this, right? Oh, now it occurs to you to ask.
Yeah, but
she's rightfully pissed.
Yeah, because he was ready to just dive headfirst into a wormhole. They had no idea where it was going to come out. And
even if it was stable.
And, yeah, that could have torn them apart. And he was willing to take Aeryn with him. All because he thought he had a chance to go home. Mm-hmm. It's like, damn. And
he says, like, no. I knew it wasn't stable. I wouldn't have done it. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, no, I don't buy that at all. And neither does Aeryn, to be honest.
No.
So, yeah, it seems that Crichton is not that different from the others in that he's also very desperate to go home.
Yes.
So they head down to the planet, which is basically, it's Mos Eisley. It's Tatooine.
Yes, it is.
It's a long stretch of desert with a tiny little spaceport kind of thing with the mechanic in it and some stalls and bits and pieces. It's very clearly budget Mos Eisley.
I do like the CGI of the building in the city in the back.
So
look, it's like a giant rock on a few stilts.
Yeah, because we do have like an expansive desert, and the bit we're heading towards is the huge vertical expansive rock. I've noticed that actually that a lot of the designs for alien planets or places that they go to in Farscape have involved a lot of vertical space. Like,
true.
Because you remember when we had Thank God It's Friday Again. We had the
tower.
The tower.
Yeah. And the one in the premiere was also, I think, similar to this. A city with at least high buildings.
Yeah, I just noticed that like there's a common theme of like vertical design, which is interesting because I haven't seen that often. You typically see stuff that is just like a big city or
or low but expansive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just an interesting quirk of design, which is kind of neat. So they go to see the mechanic whose name is Furlough, and trying to get her to fix Crichton's module, which she thinks is a hunk of junk, basically.
Oh, I love Furlough so much.
Furlough is really great.
She's a really good character. Yeah,
she's played by an actress called Magda Zubanski, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who you may recognize as she played Farmer Hoggett's wife in Babe, probably most famously. But yeah, she's wearing like overalls and has goggles and is very clearly like dirty with engine grease.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a mechanic.
She looks roughly human, but there's just enough in her face that you're pretty sure she's not exactly human.
Yeah, she's got some contacts in, I think, some like white lenses. But yeah, she reckons she should be able to fix the module by nightfall, but wants to buy it off Crichton's hands because it belongs in a museum. Damn it. But Crichton doesn't want to sell it, obviously,
No.
because I think part of it is sentiment, but also he figures that like he needs that particular ship to do his experiments.
For all he knows, it's the only ship that is capable of opening a wormhole.
Yeah, you want to repeat the exact same conditions, so you need the same ship, basically.
Exactly.
So he says that, right, well, be ready by nightfall. How quickly can you get it ready? Because I need to get back up there, collect some more data. He says, well, I can have it ready by this time, but the flares will have stopped.
And John's like, no. It needs to be quicker.
So, well, you can't rush it, this sort of thing. And so he says, well, when do the flares come back? Oh, in about 5 years. 4.8 cycles, she says. Oh, no. Speed up. Go faster. Must go faster. So she says, well, I'll see what I can do. So Aeryn and John just go for a walk about the rest of the place, really. Which means they're given these goggles to put on because it's so bright.
They look ridiculous.
They're goggles that are mostly kind of opaque except for 2 holes right in the middle. They're kind of a bit like eclipse glasses where they have like a tiny slot in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's so bright. Like we said, it's Tatooine. It's a desert planet. It's really bright. And
it's also mostly for the solar flares.
And the solar flares, yeah. So they go for a wander about outside. And guess what? There's a Peacekeeper wanted beacon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's actually a hologram of Krace. 3 Kraces, actually, because it's like Krace facing 3 different directions.
Like one wasn't bad enough already.
Yeah, but he's saying that there's a reward for the capture of 3 escaped prisoners. So already we're like, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
But it's, luckily for now, it's Zhaan, Dargo, and Rigel.
Interesting point here. It's a minor detail that I noticed because he says, well, Car Dargo, Zhaan, I forget her full name.
I think it's Pauto Zozan, if I remember right.
Yeah, and then he says, and a Hynerian who styles himself as Rigel the 16th.
Yeah.
Styles himself. I'm like, wait a minute.
I think what's going on there is that if Krace says it is actually Dominar Rigel the 16th, then there are probably at least some people who are supporters of him who may try and get him reinstated.
Okay, fair.
And
still, I did note that.
Yeah, I
was like, wait.
I noticed that, but the reason I think I'll get into why I think that's going on rather than Rigel being not who he says he is.
Imposter. Yeah,
we'll get into that a bit later because something else comes up. So there's this beacon out for the capture of Zhaan, Dargo, and Rigel. Of course, when that first scene started, I was like, oh no, it's going to be like they're in the middle of the square, it's going to have Crichton and Aeryn on it, and everyone's going to attack them. But,
exactly.
But that's not what happened. And in fact, John is surprised at that as well.
I mean, he knows it for himself, his own version, because he knows Krace wants him dead personally.
Yes. Although you'd think he could have put something out for, we want John Crichton alive, maybe. But
he might not actually have a good mugshot of him.
That's true, yeah. Everyone else had their mugshots.
This guy that looks like a Sebastian, but not actually is.
And actually, it is clear that the holograms we see of Dargo, Zhaan, and Rigel are their mugshots because they've got handcuffs on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, but before they can take the hologram away or take the wanted beacon away because they want to, get rid of that, there are 2 aliens show up.
Yeah,
2
very metal aliens.
Metal. They're kind
because actually, pure metal starts playing in the background.
It does. I actually have that noted down in my notes. Is
I have as well. Metal.
But yeah, they're they've got sort of big teeth. They've got long, lanky hair, red eyes, and a little bit of facial makeup or like prosthetics to make their heads a slightly different shape. And
they look cool.
They look pretty cool, and they're wearing like furs and stuff.
How this scene plays out is actually quite nice because first Aeryn says like, "Look, I'll do the talking," and she tries to talk him down like, "We're just passers-by, don't worry." And basically, they attack her and hold them at gunpoint because, "Is this your mate?" He asks Crichton.
Well, yeah, he says, "Is this your female?" And Aeryn responds, "I'm nobody's female." And then they attack them.
Yeah, exactly. and then, after a bit of blustering from them, John just goes, "Put that gun out of my face or I'll tear your head off."
To quote a previous episode, John has nothing and he plays with it beautifully. He uses it beautifully. Because I was like, how is this working? You have nothing. Like, did you hit a natural 20 on your bluff? Or,
this is an intimidate check.
Intimidate check.
Excuse me,
Sorry,
sir,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just critted on it. It's like, you have no weapons, you don't look particularly intimidating, but you're able to get them to back down just by shouting at them.
Yeah, because he actually manages to overrule them and being like so aggressive that they're like, okay.
I think the implication is that these two are not very smart.
No, they're not very smart, but they respond to dominance a lot.
Yeah, so he asks them, who are you, what do you want with the fugitives? And they say they're Vocarian blood trackers, and they're named... And the male is named Rolf.
Yeah.
And Crichton does actually say, Worf? It's like, no, Rolf. Worf, okay. And the female is his mate, Rorg. And he's able to convince them that Aeryn is actually his mate, and that, he's the dominant one, and
they're bounty hunters.
Yeah.
And they're called... Butch and Sundance.
Butch and Sundance. Crichton is Butch, and Aeryn is Sundance. And they're after the reward as well.
It must be great to have a whole plethora of cultural references that you can just use without anybody noticing.
Yeah, nobody's going to get that. No one's going to find that suspicious. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But they say the reward belongs to us, to Butch and Sundance, so we're going to hunt them down. Which apparently works and is convincing. Like, I'm still... like, my only explanation for this is that he hit a natural 20 on an intimidate check.
That's probably the only way. Trust me, I have had... I've had players who do that, and you're like, crap, now I have to go with this.
Yeah, because it doesn't make much sense otherwise. Like, he doesn't even have a weapon on him. It's like, this... Okay. Anyway, back on Moya. Zhaan's been enjoying the solar flares, and has gone up to the terrace, which... if you remember, is a bit that is kind of open to space with like some shielding around it, and is soaking up the flares there. And because Dargo wants to know where Zhaan is, and Rigel says she's up on the terrace.
Dargo's like, "Oh, I'll go up there and talk to her."
He's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I were you," says Rigel, because
talking about leaving her clothes.
Yeah, and then we see a shot top down on like a close-up of her robes being on the floor, and then it sort of pans across, and like, oh no, are they gonna... And all you see is, like, you see her hand come across and sort of grip onto the robe and just sort of hold it while she's making some...
Suggestive noises
off screen. So, yeah...
She's enjoying herself.
Yeah, quite a lot. Oh, so then Dargo, like, this keeps getting worse, basically, because, I mean, they don't know that they're being looked for because the solar flare has cut off communications between the planet and Moya, so they can't radio back up and say that, hey, don't come down here, they're bounty hunters looking for you. So Dargo says he'll go down to the planet and drag Crichton and Aeryn back himself.
Yeah, and he takes the Prowler, goes down.
That's what I find odd, is that he just takes Aeryn's Prowler. Like, Moya has a shuttle.
Also, where the hell did he get the keys?
Yeah.
You'd think Aeryn would lock that thing by now.
Leave the keys in the ignition? Like, what the hell? I thought it was odd that he takes the Prowler and not the shuttle, but whatever.
He's a warrior.
I guess,
requires a magnificent steed.
He needs the ship with the most guns on it. So yeah, he heads down to the planet to go get Crichton and Aeryn. But Crichton and Aeryn are hanging out with the Vulcarians, with the blood trackers, eating some kind of meat. It looks kind of gross.
It looks like a person.
It's not very clear, but
it had a face on shoulders, from what I could see.
Yeah. So they're eating that, and they're in some kind of, I guess it's some kind of basement, or whatever it is, but it's a bit more industrial and
dark.
Yeah. So they're eating something together, and Rolf mentions that the wanted beacons are actually on many planets, and he and Rorg, who's the female, they reckon this will be the fugitive's next stop. Because John wants to, well, how did you know that they would be here, or why do you think they're here? And it's like, well, we've been kind of tracking them, and the Leviathan was spotted in a system near here, and so we reckon they'll be coming here next. And basically, they kind of got lucky. But anyway, Crichton says that those 3 that you're looking for, they won't be taken without a lot of bloodshed.
Yeah, and it's like, we like bloodshed. John's like, well, I don't, especially not if it's my blood.
Yeah. So, and then he says, "All right, how good are the 2 of you? Because I might be willing to cut you in. We'll split the bounty 70-30."
And he's like, 70-40.
I was like, that's not how. You know what? 80-40. Done. Like I said, these 2 are not very smart.
No, they really are. Like, God damn it, guys, come on. I wasn't sure if it was because they're really dumb, or because percentiles aren't the thing in this culture.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna hedge my bets and say it's both.
Probably.
It's probably both. So they head off, and Aeryn and Crichton are left alone with the wanted beacon.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron's like, well, how long do you think this is gonna work? How long are they gonna not suspect anything? And it only needs to work until they fix the module and can get out of here.
Yeah, at that point it's like, well, they don't care if they know they've been fooled.
But now we get a further twist, because this whole time Aeryn has been fiddling with the wanted beacon.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out she's been inputting her own personal access code into it, because it then plays another hologram
Of Crace.
Talking.
This is actually why I think it's a recent beacon and not a recent signal.
Good point, yeah. So, yeah, because Crace is talking directly to Aeryn. This is a message specifically for her.
Mm-hmm.
And says that, Aeryn, son, when you'll be captured and you will face trial, unless you accept his conditional amnesty. So, if she turns everyone else in,
mm-hmm.
then she will be allowed to come back and face, I think it was honorable
discharge.
Yeah, I think they...
And retirement.
Yeah, they think they refer to it as honorable retirement, or...
Yeah.
You can't be, you won't be part of a squad, but you can come back and just be a peacekeeper again.
Yes.
And, yeah, so there's he's trying to bring her back. It's interesting that he seems to be trying to get her back to get everyone else.
Yeah, because he knows he might have some leverage over her.
So yeah, but she has to surrender everyone else, not just Dargo, Zhaan, Rigel, and Crichton, but also Moya as well.
Yeah.
And he gives his oath that this is what'll happen, and
we know how much that's worth.
Yeah, which is exactly what John says. But Aeryn seems to be thinking about it, so we'll see.
I like that John's like, you're not taking him seriously, right? He's always serious.
I mean, you say that, but we have seen that he is kind of crazy.
He is.
And hell-bent on getting Crichton.
Crazy serious.
Okay. But while this has been going on, Dargo has landed on the planet at last. He's also wearing like a face mask kind of thing.
Really cool one.
Yeah, it's got a black visor and probably breathing apparatus in it. It covers his whole face.
Mm-hmm.
Just again because it's so bright with all the solar flares and all that stuff.
It's like a hockey mask.
Yeah. So he lands on the planet. This is when I really started to notice the metal. Because I want to talk about this because he lands outside of the town in the Prowler and starts walking across the sand dunes with just like the soundtrack switches from just not really having anything or incidental background music to just like this metal tune as he's like yeah, metal. That's when it stood out to me of like, okay, we get the shots of Dargo walking around and it's just metal everywhere.
Yeah.
But but Rolf and Rorg have picked up his scent. I like that how quickly this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like he lands on the planet and the female of the two is just like, Luxons! I smell a Luxon!
Okay, 2 points with that. One, that's not how scent works.
I mean, not that quickly.
No, it might spread, but not that quickly. 2, how does she know what a Luxon smells like? Because apparently they had the only information they had on these 3 was in the beacon, and I don't think they provided a scent sample.
Maybe it was like a new smell that hadn't been...
She doesn't specifically say Luxon. That's true. Later on, she does specifically say Delphian.
Ah, well, whatever.
So that's actually where the point I'm like, wait, what?
So they're going to try and capture him, but Dargo gets the drop on one of them, but the other one sneaks up behind him and stuns him, and he falls down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Really cool gun. It's like he gets hit, and it's like a net basically falls around him, or at least the energy goes around him.
Yeah, and he collapses.
That's how the stun effect looks. Really cool.
Yeah, so good job, Dargo. You got yourself captured.
Yeah. Clever boy. Especially for lugging this sword around without turning it to gun mode in the desert. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, like, it's the desert, and presumably in the desert you can see people coming from quite far away, so you want a weapon like that. You want to be able to
close
shoot...
quarters is where you want the sword. The desert is not close quarters.
No, not really. Anyway, he's been captured by the two of them. But then we head back to see Furlough again, and she's still offering to buy Farscape 1. She still wants the module.
Yeah.
But not just because it belongs in a museum.
Yeah, because John doesn't trust it entirely.
Yeah,
why she's so persistent in this.
From working on it, she's noticed signs that indicate it's been close to a wormhole.
Yeah.
And that would also explain the weird gravity waves that she picked up earlier today. But Crichton's still not selling, really.
No. He's specifically dodging the fact that he needs a wormhole to go home, which is smart because that points out how desperate you are.
Yeah, and he says...
Negotiating, you don't want anyone knowing that. What
I find interesting is he says, what do you know about wormholes? And Furlough says, well, they're theoretical. No one's ever gone through one. And I find that interesting that wormholes are unknown to everyone, not just Crichton. Like, no one else knows how to use them.
They don't even know how to create them.
Yeah, so it's clearly could be a very valuable commodity, that information. But so he won't sell. But Furlough says, well, I could trade. I just got this brand new second-hand... just come across this second-hand Prowler. And that's...
John's like, Prowler?
Oh, shit.
Oh, crap.
Oh, no. So he goes outside to go to see what's going on, and Rolf and Rourke are bringing Dargo in. They've captured him at this point. In this weird harness that is like a full body harness that wraps around his it wraps around his Dargo's arms, legs, and torso, with like a stick at the back so they can push him forwards.
That didn't go well.
That did not go well. And also this is where Dargo sort of lashes out at Crichton a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, Crichton, I will kill you!
And they're like, wait, your name is Crichton? It's like, yeah, Butch Crichton. Nice save, John.
Yeah.
Nice save.
I had it written down there as well. Nice save, man. Nice save. Also, every time we see Furlough, she's just sitting on her ass, smoking a cigar.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
If she's the best mechanic around, why isn't she doing anything?
Because she can tell other people what to do.
I guess.
And that she has a whole bunch of people working for her.
That is true.
She's the boss.
True, okay. She probably only does the really sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like that little character thing, though. She always seems to be smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
That's a neat little detail. So now Crichton has... Crichton is still playing along for now.
He knows he can't go up against these two.
Like I said, he's bluffing heavily.
They have guns. He does not.
He does not have gun. And so he goes with them while they basically torture Dargo.
Yeah.
To try and find out where the other fugitives are.
So they're like, oh, his skin is thick, but I bet these are sensitive. And they take one of his hair tentacles, and they cut into it.
And it's like, oh, that probably is very sensitive.
And bleeds dark and blah.
Yeah, and they actually kind of screwed up there because, as Crichton says, right, you just cut his tentacle. He's gonna bleed out and die if you don't do something about it.
This whole time, John is insisting that this is a waste of time. Luxons don't talk.
Yeah, you're not gonna get anything out of torturing him or trying to question him. And Rolf is actually kind of suspicious about this. It's like, why are you delaying? Why are you're stalling? So he says, "All right,
Maybe you're secret allies with them, and they've offered you more to protect them." And that's why he suddenly shows up after me. Of course, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
Damn it.
we've established they're not very smart.
No.
And so, but as a test, Rolf's like, well, okay, if it's a waste of time, then waste some time. Here, have this knife, and torture Dargo.
Enjoy yourself.
So, yeah, but what Crichton has said is, like, they have to make the blood run clear, or Dargo will die because his blood will turn toxic.
For Dargo, I would have pointed out that his blood would turn toxic, period. For the other two as well, scare him away like that. But...
Yeah, but, and this has come up before, so this is not just something he's pulling out of his ass. And he's also trying to save Dargo. So, but he manages to do it while making it look like he's kind of torturing him a bit, because he grabs the tentacle where it was cut, squeezes it, and kind of punches Dargo on the side of the head a bit.
Yeah.
And while making it look like, it's like, why are you talk?
What are you... Listen to me, good kid. You might not know who I am, you might not care, but if you don't do what I say, I will kill you.
Punch, 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 punch. And so he then steps away, and we have like a shot of his hand coming off the tentacle, and the blood has gone clear, so...
Yeah, so
success.
Dargo will live.
Yeah, but Rolf is still suspicious, like, why are you protecting him? And so Crichton goes with, Dargo's worthless to them dead.
The reward is only for if they're alive.
Which is not true! Because they point out, like, the hologram didn't say anything about that.
Well, the one I found did.
It's like, you found a different hologram? So this is kind of falling apart a little bit now.
Mm-hmm. He's losing control here. He knows it.
But he has managed to save Dargo for now. So, back with the module in the repair shop in Furlough's garage, basically. Aeryn is also trying to help out a little bit.
By pressuring Furlough, mostly.
Yeah.
What's taking you so goddamn long? Well, if you would get out of my hair, it would go faster. I don't believe you.
But one of the people working on the ship is being a little bit suspicious and is going straight for the flight recorder.
Yeah, Aeryn notices this, like, what's he doing? Furlough's like, that's probably checking your avionics or something. No, that's not what he's doing. He's trying to get to the flight recorder. Get over here. And
so she basically pulls the goggles or hood off him, and he's got weird kind of yellow eyes, and
they glow slightly.
And he attacks her, and they have a scrap.
An actual scrap. Aeryn is fighting actually, not that stupid high hands fighting they did in the time loop episode.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, they actually have a proper scrap.
Yeah,
but,
this looked way better.
Yeah, but it didn't go that well because she gets knocked down with the guy sort of above, ready to kill her, basically.
Yeah, basically holding up a giant can of something.
Yeah, it looks like
a gas can and just slamming it on her skull.
But Furlough gets there first and whacks him on the back of the head with a metal plunger, basically.
I love that that he's standing there and just Furlough, yoo-hoo! He looks around, wham!
It's really good. And yeah, he's knocked out. Actually, no, he's not just knocked out. He's freaking dead.
He's dead.
He died.
She pokes him with that with the device she has. Apparently, it shocks something. It's like, oh, he dead.
Oh, yep, nope, he dead. But Aeryn, so in the fight, Aeryn got sort of knocked down and outside a little bit, and there was a solar flare which went directly into her eyes, and now she can't see.
She's blind.
Yeah. So that's not good. Furlough reassures her there's, a 60 to a 60% chance of regaining sight, maybe 70.
Possibly even 80?
Possibly 80, yeah.
And I like that Aaron's like, how long is that going to take? Wait, don't tell me, you're not an eye physician.
So, of course, this has been going on for a little while now, so now it's Zhaan's turn to come down to the planet.
Yeah, because she comes back from the terrace and Rigel's sleeping again in his chair. And she's like, oh, I feel completely refreshed. Rigel, wake up. Oh, no. I don't want to see your nakedness. Oh.
Yeah, he covers. I love that shot. The puppet work is great again, where he covers his eyes with his hands.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to see it.
I was like, are you wearing clothes?
Your parts.
He says, are you wearing clothes? And
just-
she is, but she's like, no, I'm completely nude, and
It was naked as a baby.
and she's basically having some fun with him playing.
I like Zhaan doing this actually.
Yeah,
this is Zhaan we don't see, just teasing Rachel a little bit.
Yeah, so then she kind of takes his hands off his eyes, and he closes his eyes very quickly.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
she's like, what? Really close to his ear. What parts of me don't you want to see? Be specific.
and she blows on his eyes, and he opens up. It's like, no. It's a really funny. It's a really
funny. I really like that one.
Yeah. But of course, since they've had no communication and Dargo hasn't come back, well, like, what the hell's going on? So Zhaan decides she's going to go down to the planet and figure out what's going on.
That solved the problem last time.
Yeah, people keep going down there and keep getting stuck. I'll go down. This seems like a good idea. So she heads down, and of course the two trackers pick up her scent as well, and that's where she's
immediately, and they're like,
Delvian.
I'm like, what do you know what the Delvian smells like? You barely knew anything about the species.
Yeah, so she's walking around. Incidentally,
Again, metal
on the sand dunes. Interestingly, we don't see. She comes down in Moya's shuttle, which we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a prop for that apparently, or a set for that.
I don't think we've seen the shuttle at all. We've only seen it in the CG shots.
Yeah, so maybe they don't have that ready. But she's just walking across the sand dunes, and so the trackers have picked up her scent.
Mm-hmm.
And then she does some kind of funky Delvian priest magic to throw them off the scent.
Yeah, it's. I think the spell is remove scent.
Yeah,
Prestidigitation because it cleans. I don't know.
Something
might
like that.
Might be one of those spells.
but she sort of kneels down and puts her hands over her head, and the blue lightning makes a return and goes over her body, and apparently that throws off the scent. So that's good. And then a solar flare happens.
And she's like, not now. Oh.
Yeah, like it's not. Yeah, it's not a conscious thing. It's like, oh no, nope, not now, no, bad time.
It's like, I can.
And she kind of
Okay.
collapses down a little bit. It's just like, nope, well, okay.
She's overcome with ecstasy, really.
Yeah, basically. So back with Dargo, he's managed to work his way free of the restraints.
Yeah.
And he pulls a fast one on John, because John comes back in and he's trying to be like, right, okay, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, because he comes in and he's like, Rorf, Borg. Well, I guess I'm lucky. Sorry, Dargo, wake up. We need to go.
And then Dargo kicks him in the face.
Yep.
Because Dargo's very pissed off. And yeah, he just attacked Crichton because it seems like he's allied with bounty hunters, and Crichton's trying to talk him around.
Yeah, because he's like, look, I did that to save your goddamn life.
Yeah, like I saved your ass today, and then Dargo is very upset with Crichton. He says, "I don't understand what goes on inside your head. You frustrate me. You're irritating. I don't like you."
And I also like that he points out, like, you almost went away. You were about to do anything to go home. And like, oh really? Well, I wasn't the person that was trying to chop off Pilot's arm.
It's like, yes, it makes a return.
Yeah, that was actually necessary. I do like that he's really pissed off about that, because...
I mean, they both have a point, because, like, yeah, like, Dargo and Zhaan and Rigel went way too far in cutting off Pilot's arm. But John was prepared to take Aeryn with him without her consent, basically.
Yeah, and that was also too far.
Yeah, so they're both very desperate to go home and have gone a little bit too far.
Mm-hmm.
And Dargo says, well, every time I let my guard... Oh, yeah, and then Crichton says, yeah, I wasn't the one chopping off Pilot's arm, and I'm the one keeping your family secrets. Remember from the last episode, which was heavy. And Dargo says, but every time I let my guard down, you disappoint me. And it's like, okay, wow, these two are not getting on right now.
No, and he says, like, I keep forgetting you're not a peacekeeper.
Yeah, because...
like, so much.
Because John says, all right, what do you want from me? I'm only human.
Yeah. And then he's like, I keep forgetting. You look so much like a peacekeeper. And John's like, that's it?
That's what's...
Is that the problem here?
Yeah, so then they've kind of calmed down a bit now, and Crichton calls Dargo childish, and Dargo says Crichton is selfish, and says, yeah, I can be, so what? And what about you?
I can be as well, sometimes.
So they say, well, okay, we're not going to be friends.
No, this is never going to work.
But we can be allies. And
I really like that John's like, we're never going to be friends, are we? That's a lot to ask for, Dargo says. And he's like, how about respect?
Yeah. And I also like that Crichton points out that, yeah, okay, we've both butted heads quite a lot, but I never came after you with a weapon.
No, that is true.
Which you've done multiple times. But yeah, they can at least form a bond of respect.
Yeah, and I like that John sticks out his hand.
Oh, yeah.
Shake his hand, and
this
he's
is
like,
oh, this is so good.
This is nice. I really like this. And he's like, this is something warriors on Earth did to show that they had no weapons. And then Dargo's like, he takes up his right hand, which is holding a sword.
I actually, that
puts it in
first
his
shot
left, and then gives John a hand.
Yeah, like it's a nice scene, but that first bit where he just raises his hand with a massive sword in it is hilarious. Just like to show they weren't holding weapons. He's like, well, but then they do shake hands and they are allied for now. And so we're back with Aeryn and Furlough after that scene, and Aeryn knows that Furlough doesn't want to fix the module anytime soon.
No.
Which is because there are not usually a load of bounty hunters coming around looking for people who may have a module or know the people who are being hunted, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Aeryn says they can make a deal for it.
Yeah, and she's like, how much do you know about cyber manipulation?
Yeah. But Rolf and Rorg have cottoned on to what's going on, and they're attacking Dargo and Crichton as they're trying to get out of there. Because
they're back in the village, at the outskirts where we've seen them walk around before, and they just start shooting at them.
There's a proper shootout.
And they hide behind a stall, and John's like, well, great place. Can you find some cover with a back door? I didn't choose this cover.
So they're being pinned down, and it's all gone wrong.
And I like that John's now like, okay, I'll handle this, and he just steps out of cover. I was like, who the hell do you think you're shooting at? And he fails his intimidate check this time.
Yeah. I'm glad that actually failed, because...
Yeah, because at this point, though, even those idiots are like, nope, we're just going to keep shooting.
And so, but now Aeryn is sort of stumbling out, and remember, she's still blind at this point, but she's walking...
And John has briefly been there and knows this. It's a minor scene that wasn't really relevant to talk about any more than that. Yeah,
he goes over to try and help Aeryn because she's got the beacon and is plonking it down on the wall, and it goes off, and Krace now says the Peacekeeper command carrier that was going to collect the bounty for these three has been reassigned, so no reward. Goodbye.
And I like that the bounty hunters immediately like, hold on, this is pointless then. Yes.
Waste of time.
You hungry? And at that point, what if Darko's shots strikes behind them? Rourke's like, not that hungry.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, this is more trouble than it's worth. Let's get out of here.
Have fun with them, butch. Just leave.
And also, I really like this, that Aeryn is really happy with her idea.
Yeah, I love this. She's really happy with her plan here. It's like, John's like, that was a good plan. Yeah. Probably my best plan yet. And she blindly slaps him in the
it's really funny.
Face.
She's like feeling around for where he is. It's like... But it's actually great because it's Aeryn using her head again.
Yeah.
And she's doing well.
It's a good plan.
Yeah.
Seriously a good plan. I also like that in this scene, at some point, first Dargo doesn't want to leave John because John's like, okay, give me your gun, you can get Aeryn, you can get out. No, you are my ally, I will not leave you.
Oh yeah, like
this is my character, and this is how I'm playing it.
It's that comes up again, but I do like that he this has come up before, like we said, with the frog people a couple of episodes ago. But he has respect for the rules of engagement, basically.
Yeah.
You don't leave your allies behind.
Exactly.
Even though you might think your ally is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
You don't leave them behind.
I also love that when John tries to get to Aeryn, he says to Dargo, "Dargo, cover me," and he runs away, and Dargo's like, "Oh, cover you."
Very reluctantly covers him.
Like,
But
okay, fine.
But yeah, anyway, everything is mostly sorted out. The bounty hunters have gone away.
Yes.
So Crichton's like, right, I need to get back up there and get back up into the solar flares. And that's when Zhaan arrives and says, "I'm sorry, but the flares have stopped. You've missed your chance."
How do you know? And Zhaan's like, "Well, if they hadn't, I wouldn't still be here. I wouldn't be here yet."
Yep. And so yeah, Crichton's missed his chance to go and play with the solar flares.
Mm-hmm.
So we head back to Furlough's to finish up John's module. And Aeryn's sight is coming back a little bit. It's kind of blurry. And
I do like the exchange they have at this point, because John's like about the beacon, like, "Were you seriously considering it?" And she's like, "I know what retirement means."
Yeah, it apparently means that it would be an actually artificially induced, or like a deliberately induced heat death. Or
living death.
Living death. Yeah, it would be a deliberately induced living death, which is the Sebacean heat delirium. So yeah, that doesn't sound too good.
And I like John pointing out to them, "Why were you considering it? Why are you looking at the beacon so much?" And he's like, "Because it was nice for a moment to believe that his offer was genuine."
Yeah, that she could go back to her old life, which is a really nice parallel with basically with the opening scene. That's exactly the same thing Crichton was doing with the wormhole, where like it was unstable and he knew it was unstable, but he was transfixed by it and staring at it because there was the possibility that it was a way home. And and Aeryn is doing exactly the same thing with Crace's offer of retirement. So yeah, like again, we're furthering that bonding that they have. There's a lot more common ground there than we may have.
I really like the dynamic between those two as the series has been going on.
Yeah. Now we get to the part where we realize that they've been repairing this module, so you have to pay them. You have to pay people for doing that kind of stuff.
Because Aeryn says, like, "Look, I'm in debt to Furlough and I can't pay it.
You settle the bill."
Would you like to talk to her?
So, I'm wondering, did they come down like because he looks at the bill, she gives him the bill, and
it's like she goes off a whole list and goggle rental, and John's like, she looks at him like, "The fuck?"
Like, goggle rental, serious? It's like, "Oh, I can waive the goggle rental, okay." I like that. Yeah.
And then he asks, like, "You need any food cubes?"
Yeah, so this is what I was thinking of, was that, or this is what I was getting at, is that, did they just come down here with no way to pay them and just say, like, "Right, repair my module and then we'll figure it out later"?
I think that is, I mean, given John's situation, that I agree on that. That's what I would have done, given the time constraint.
I mean, they're just lucky that they didn't ask for cash up front.
No.
So, yeah, he can't actually pay, and so she's not going to let him take the module away until he can actually pay for it.
And so she's like, "Well, you can work here and stay here, work it off, work on this little experiment I have going here." And it's like, "There's a bunch of bounty hunters coming, it's probably not an option."
Yeah. And so what she will accept, is Crichton's data on wormholes.
Yeah, because he's like, that could be highly profitable.
Yeah, he could sell that information to the highest bidder, really.
And I like that John's completely okay with it. He's like, "Fine, once I'm back up, I'll make you a copy, send it back."
And she's like, no, exclusive rights. Or nothing. And he's like, "Oh, God."
And it's like, no, I can't do that. I need this to get home the first time he actually drops this information.
Yeah.
Like,
and she says, "Well, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. That's the offer. Take it or leave it, basically."
he knows he has to.
Yeah, it's
He
what
has
he has
no
to
option.
do. So, because then, and like they say, they can keep looking for stars with high solar flare activity,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll have to leave all this data behind. And so yeah, he agrees and gives her the data, which, by the way, is on a little mini cassette.
Yeah.
So like, I hope you have a way of reading that.
I think she does. I don't think that would be too complicated for them. Maybe she might have been like, I'll figure it out later because I don't. If he tries to transcode it on something else, there's no guarantee it's going to be exclusive rights, so I'll take that risk.
Maybe. I was just expecting a thing where, like, he hands over the tape, and I was expecting her to look at it and just be like, the hell is this? How do I use this? But apparently she has, I don't know, a tape player in the back or something. Aeryn does refer to it at the beginning of the episode as a primitive magnetic recording device. Yeah, so they seem to know what it is, so sure. Okay.
They should be able to get the information out.
But yeah, he gives her the data and says, you wait 5 years from now, I'll be waiting for you at the other end of that wormhole.
You have no idea where that wormhole would have gone.
Yeah.
You have no idea of aiming these things. And even if you did, you still don't know where to aim them.
Yeah. But that's where we finish. And that's the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, like the plot is fairly straightforward. There's not much to it. But there's some bonding between, you further John and Dargo's relationship.
Yeah.
And
John and Aeryn.
John and Aeryn a little bit as well. So yeah, what do we think?
It was an okay episode. There was nothing that really jumped out at me to make it amazing. Like I said, I really liked the scene between Dargo and John, but aside from that, it was like not that brilliant.
No,
so I'm just going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like,
it's a decent episode.
Yeah, solid episode. But I am glad that we had some more character development, some relationship. Yeah. Actually, there is a bit where Dargo mentions like he's arguing with John, and it's like, in our relationship, and then John's like, oh, we have a relationship now. That must be why you want to kill me. But it's true. That is actually what they have now. They have a more of a relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, it's a mutual relationship of respect, and I'm pretty sure they'll keep butting heads, but probably without trying to kill each other.
Hopefully, yeah. We can downgrade it a little bit from that. But this is also one of those episodes where we see how much John wants to go home because he's given what he thinks is a chance to, and he almost takes it at high risk to himself and Aeryn and everyone else. So yeah, it was pretty good. There was nothing really much to. Actually, there was one quick bit I wanted to talk about the editing or so. We mentioned that when Aeryn loses her sight, we have Furlough saying, you have a 60% chance. Well, 70%. Well, maybe 80%. And it's like a close-up of Furlough. I think she's actually in John's module at that point.
Yeah, and that gets reused.
Yeah, because when John goes back to see them and he finds out that Aeryn has been blinded, they use the exact same shot for her repeating that to John, which it stood out to me a little bit because...
I noticed that as well. I was like, wait a minute. I forgot to go back and check it, but...
I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same.
It was at least the exact same lines, but I'm pretty sure it's the exact same...
Yeah, it's the same shot.
Line. Yeah, same shot as well.
Which is just it seems a little bit kind of cheap, I guess, because it's just like, we'll just reuse the same thing. Not in no different delivery or different shot, just like pop that right back in.
I think I would have gone with basically keeping the camera on John and Aeryn and just reusing the audio on that, because that's fine.
Yeah, it's just, something like that, but yeah, it did stand out to me a little bit. And that and the random metal when we're on when we're looking at the sand dunes.
I think it's mostly the Blood Hunters.
Yeah, that's true.
Triggered that soundtrack.
All right. But yeah, no, this was pretty solid and not terrible, not amazing. Like I said, we've just come off of a couple of really good ones. We had PK Tech Girl, we had They've Got a Secret.
That Old Black Magic.
Yeah, and so this is kind of just like an average episode. So it's but it's still pretty good.
It serves its purpose. It advances a few tiny things, and aside from that, it fills time with an interesting episode.
There you go. It does the job. So yeah, there we go. That's this episode, and like we said, pretty good, pretty okay, 3 out of 5. And you will be happy to know that is basically the consensus on farscapeworld.com. That is,
I've been on the mark.
I think we're staying in line with what everyone else seems to think.
I can't wait to completely disagree with them.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. I hope that happens at some point. It'll be interesting. Me too. So yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll happen next week, because what's up next? We have the episode is called Rhapsody in Blue.
Ooh. That tells me absolutely nothing.
I mean, I'm thinking it might have something to do with Zhaan.
Oh, right. Actually, good point.
Because she's blue. In fact, let me read out. There's a very brief summary. So it's Zhaan is asked to help an outpost of fellow Delvians attempting to avoid the madness that threatens them.
Ooh, so we get interesting.
Maybe we get some more Delvian backstory. Yeah.
Nice. That's interesting. Okay.
All right. I'm looking
forward to next week now.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you can find us again next week. We'll be back for that. In the meantime, if you want to support this show, and it is in fact brought to you by listeners like you and the supporters of the Can't Wear Hats Patreon, patreon.com/can'twearhats, which supports this podcast and my live streams and other projects.
Yes.
And if you want to get in touch, you can find us both on Twitter. I'm at Can't Wear Hats, and Red is at Vidalcan in Tree.
Yep.
And you can leave a comment on YouTube and all of that stuff. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll be back next week for Rhapsody in Blue. So until next time, we'll see you around. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, if anyone asks, I'm Butch, you're Sundance.
How come you get to be Butch?
Because I'm the alpha male, goddammit! Now give me all the lunch money.
Okay. Wait, this is my show.